Are you a prisoner of your own mindset? I want to take you through, have a look at this, right? As much as you might think this is destructive, the craziest thing about my 20 years of jail is that people live their whole life in a prison within their own mindset. And this little video is going to give you a step-by-step get out of that little prison that you live within every single day. You know, I look through here and some of the times we were playing football down on these ovals and people would jump off these balconies, and you know, that's sadness. I look up, there's people around here that look down and wonder, what am I going to do today? 12 p.m. wake-ups was the norm within the area. Now, as much as you might think, oh, they should get up and get a job, you might be up and at your job, but dead inside yourself. You know, dead at 25, buried at 75. And the reality of this conversation means that you need purpose, you need a vision of where you're heading in life, a why to get up every single morning. I look around here and there is no why to get up every single morning. We don't have role modeling or that person to guide us in the right direction to see more within life. To travel overseas, I'll give you an example. A lot of people recently have been traveling overseas from this area because they've seen me do it. And it means that if someone does it in your proximity, there's a belief that it can be done. Now look, you know, I look up, there's 2 Mercedes up here, older ones, but that's the validation. I've got a Mercedes in an area like this, and there's a, you know, the old Mercedes, but it just means that you get validated in a space. I look back and that validation is one way you're starting to step out of that mental prison that you live in every single day. 12 p.m. wake-ups being the norm. It's insane that people even think that that's normal. It's insane that as young kids we have to see people, and I saw probably 10 in this area literally jump off their balconies. Imagine as a 10-year-old kid, and then what we do is all go and look at it like it was absolutely normal. That's so much dysfunction. But the craziest thing about all of that is that people are free. They've never been locked up, never been on drugs, but you live within a prison of your own fears, your own anxieties. I can't do that. My little tip to yourself, feelings, emotions, action, reaction, that is the negative fear loop. When you write out what happened to you in that format, your feelings, your emotions, your actions, reaction, and then you flip it over to a positive loop, which means what you actually want from that experience. What was the lesson that became a blessing that allowed you to grow from that experience? You step out of the prison within your own mindset. And if I can, you can too. Let's go. Dissonance. It is the space between reality and the truth. What I told myself in this area and what was okay is relatable to yourself. I'll give you an example, especially in the corporate world. Every Friday after work, to manage our emotions, people are going to the pub, snorting cocaine and telling themselves that that's okay. But during the week, ending up with anxiety and stress because they don't have the money financially that they've spent over that weekend to impress other people by wearing clothes that had brands on them to allow them to fit in with the rest of society. And once you understand that conversation, you're able to step away from that conversation, which means you're starting to close that gap of dissonance. What you tell yourself is okay and what is actually reality. And until you do that, you'll keep just being in spaces to be validated by other people, which we've spoken about in the other videos, to allow you to feel that you actually fit in, that you matter within this world. And the corporate world is a great example of that. What could you do differently to understand that word dissonance and start to move away from it? Because that's how I shifted and changed my life. And if I can, you can too. Let's go. Look around here and people always say, how do you tackle fear? When you look up at these apartments, we play football here. people would jump off those apartments, and you know, as a young kid we'd see that violence is normal, all these different things. So when we had to do something, it became so easy to do something in the normal world. And that tells me that you've got to challenge yourself sometimes and put yourself in uncomfortable environments to grow into a new being and self. And to be able to do that, maybe even come down to these areas, immerse yourself within it, feel uncomfortable, feel that anxiety, and still do it anyway, because that builds that tenacity in the part of the brain that it actually grows, and that allows you to step into tenacity, to do the things that you don't want to do, but do them like you love them anyway. And that's what we did as kids here, come down and still play football, despite knowing that someone, many a times, would keep jumping off and we'd see it, and we just think of that as normal. And once you get to that level of life where you just get hardened by the experiences of life, it toughens you up, it builds that resilience, it builds that tenacity. And the more I do it, the stronger I become within this space. And I look back at these old things and I think to myself, I'm blessed to have grown up with that tenacity and strength within this area, and I'm blessed and grateful to be able to carry that on and pass that on to other people. But that's the thing, I grabbed that gift and I passed it on to somebody else. It's your turn to do the same. If I can, you can too. Let's go.